The Yao family had a lot of people, but when compared to the Chen family's 6th level mortal martial realm experts and their 300 or so elites, their overall strength was weaker. The Yao family members were slowly losing their ground as they were forced inside the Yao family estate, but that strong giant door of the Yao family was blasted to smithereens by Chen Xiang as the Chen family forced their way through. Meanwhile, that giant field outside had been turned into Chen Xiang and Chen Furong's personal battlefield. Chen Furong's hands and feet were wrapped in that red true qi. Moreover, a wild and savage breath could be sensed emanating from them. The red true qi covering both his hands slowly started to take shape, resembling a beast's. With two strong and thick arms with sharp claws, it looked very frightening. His legs were also the same, all his limbs were also wrapped in the red true qi and surprisingly, all of them had been transformed into that of a beast's, which looked extremely tough. Waves of strong and fierce true qi flew towards Chen Xiang. Chen Xiang retreated a few steps while frowning. He looked at Chen Furong and noticed that both of his eyes had completely turned red, resembling that of a fierce wolf. Is this the true form of the 9th level of mortal martial realm? Chen Xiang said in his heart. The 9th level of mortal martial realm was the true form realm. Depending on the individual's cultivating exercise, a form was congealed from true qi in their dantian. Ordinarily, these can be divided into two common types. One is the bird or beast form while the other was a weapon form. Of course there are other types of forms, such as lotus, star, or lightning form. Every single one of these are determined according to their cultivation exercise. If the true qi congealed out a bird or beast form, then you could use the special power of that anima. If one congealed out a weapon, then they could form a very powerful weapon apparition. If at that time, they were also using a weapon, then the weapon apparition and the one they were holding would fuse together, becoming even more powerful. Right in front of Chen Xiang, Chen Furong had actually congealed a wolf type from his true qi. Angry wolf fist. Chen Furong blasted a fist in air. Immediately after, the place where he stood was unable to withstand the sudden release of powerful and violent true qi. His feet formed two craters as he punched out. A red light also broke out. This red light burst open in blink of an eye into countless wolf heads with their jaws wide open, forming a makeshift wall as they closed in on Chen Xiang. These wolf heads created from true qi contained tyrannical force. Chen Xiang was sure if he was hit directly, he would still suffer heavily despite his powerful body. Chen Xiang sent out a shove of his hand and gathered the universal true qi from his dantian and released outwards. That qi aura cemented a wall which stood firmly in front of him. The universal true qi was created by fusing the 5 elements of true qi, yet it was colorless and invisible. It could be considered to be transparent, but people could still sense its peculiar vibe. The numerous wolf heads created from true qi came flying towards Chen Xiang, releasing waves after waves of qi. After the ground came in contact with the qi waves, it was blasted into many pieces. Those numerous true qi-filled violent wolf heads struck the qi aura wall that was protecting Chen Xiang's body. The strength of both true qis were quite similar as their clash resulted in a thunderous roar. Due to the collision, a qi shockwave was created. It was similar to an undulated wave that spread all 4 directions. The bricks within the wide field shook along with the qi wave, which in turn, were smashed into powder one after another. The original field, which was entirely covered with bricks, had now become an uneven ground of mud. In front of Chen Xiang, an even deeper crater had been formed. When Chen Furong saw that his initial attack failed to do anything, he immediately flew over. Those giant wolf-like legs of his treaded on the ground. Along his path, many small craters appeared. With each step he took, it shook the ground along with thunderous sounds. It was as if a giant angry elephant was madly rushing through the field. Chen Furong was shocked by the fact that Chen Xiang was capable of even releasing a bizarre and powerful true qi that could even withstand such an attack. But Chen Furong still believed that no matter what happened, Chen Xiang was still just a 8th level of mortal martial realm teenager. Whether it was Chen Xiang's combat experience, or how vibrant his true qi was, neither of those could even be compared with Chen Furong's. He was completely confident in his victory. Arrogant little brat, today I'll send you off to heaven. Chen Furong grinned ferociously as he fiercely jumped out. Both of his legs stuck close together as they emitted a red light. Quick as lightning, he diagonally slammed down from high above. You're just a wolf, nothing more than a mangy mutt. What's so impressive about that? Chen Xiang sneered. Watching Chen Furong falling down from the sky, the universal true qi gathered around Chen Xiang's fists as he simultaneously released slaughter qi. He punched out his fists lightning fast. As his attack cut through the air, a thunderous tiger roar resounded. White Tiger Divine Fist. Chen Xiang welcomed Chen Furong's slam attack, which was similar to an immense mountain falling down. As the attack descended, Chen Xiang's fist struck on the dead center of Chen Furong's souls. Suddenly, a tiger's roar soared into the sky. As the qi waves swept forth in all directions, the sand was blown away from the blast, and a few cracks could also be seen on the ground. Chen Furong thought that his attack would simply destroy all of Chen Xiang's defense and plunge him into a dead end. Who could have thought that in a blink of an eye, Chen Furong's foot would suddenly be struck by an immense and unfathomable amount of force that smashed into his whole thigh. His leg had already been utterly decimated under Chen Xiang's White Tiger Divine Fist. The entire crowd was horrified, and to their shock, Chen Furong's leg appeared withered as if all its vital essence had been extracted. This was White Tiger Divine Fist's formidability. This was also the first time Chen Xiang had used this skill. After using it, not only did a frightening power burst out, but it released an seemingly endless amount of slaughter chi, engulfing all of the vitality from the opposite party. Old mutt, this is the consequence of underestimating an enemy, Chen Xiang coldly said before he suddenly appeared right in front of Chen Furong. Chen Furong felt a mix of surprise, anger and hate, all at the same time. He still did not know what type of true chi Chen Xiang had used just a moment ago. Chen Furong had never seen or even heard of such a thing. This true chi appeared to be without any attributes similar to a physical force, yet at the same time it wasn't. Do not be complacent, now you're also burned out. Chen Furong blasted his fist, countering Chen Xiang's blow. He believed that Chen Xiang had completely exhausted his true chi for that attack from just a moment ago. After all, Chen Xiang was only at 8th level of mortal martial realm, and his true chi was bound to not be as vigorous as Chen Furong's. But Chen Furong was completely, horribly, wrong. His fist rumbled as he punched out, but Chen Xiang just counter-attacked Chen Furong with yet another White Tiger Divine Fist. And just like before, a tiger roar could be heard again as an immense power burst out and surged into Chen Furong's arm, completely destroying it. Due to the impact force, Chen Furong flew back and spat out a mouthful of blood. He had not only lost a leg and an arm, but also, just a moment ago, Chen Xiang had violently shook Chen Furong's 5 zhong and 6 fu with the help of White Tiger Divine Fist. TLN. 5 zhong and 6 fu in nothing more than the internal organs. In Chinese medicine 5 zhong are heart, liver, spleen, lung and kidney, while 6 fu are small intestine, large intestine, gall bladder, urinary bladder, stomach and sanjiao. Sanjiao is the meridians connecting the major organs. In future I will continue to use 5 zhong and 6 fu, it just basically means internal organs. The crowd watching was shocked. That White Tiger Divine Fist from Chen Xiang was not only completely overbearing but the slaughter chi gave off an oppressive pressure. Everyone assumed that this level of attack should consume a large amount of true chi and could be cast out once was already formidable enough. However, no one thought that Chen Xiang could still cast it again with such ease. Once again a sandstorm was created in the field as Chen Xiang slowly walked towards Chen Furong. In an unemotional, yet angry tone, he said, "You wounded my father, sent people to trash Dan King Hall, and also collaborated with the Yao family to destroy our Chen family. I will not let such a traitor die so easily." Chen Xiang was in the beginner stage of the immortal and devil body. He also had the heaven-defying yin and yang divine vein, and an immensely powerful divine exercise. Due to all these factors, at the 8th level of the mortal martial realm, he had the strength to defeat a 9th level of the mortal martial realm expert. Even Chen Xiang didn't expect that the universal true chi, created from fusing the 5 elements of true chi, would be so frightening. He was also shocked speechless by the power released when using the divine exercise of the 4 symbols. What are you going to do? I'm a true martial sect's disciple, if you. When Chen Furong saw the slaughter chi soaring from Chen Xiang, Chen Furong finally realized that death was in front of him. Despite Chen Xiang destroying both an arm and a leg, Chen Furong could still not accept the fact that Chen Xiang was stronger than him. Impossible. Impossible. I am in the 9th level of the mortal martial realm. Only a 10th level of mortal martial realm expert can beat me. You're only 16 years old, you can't possibly be in the 10th level of mortal martial realm. Chen Furong panicked while speaking, at the same time struggling to crawl away on the ground. Chen Xiang coldly said, "If I was in 10th level of mortal martial realm, you would have just become meat putty on the sidewalk, go to hell." After he finished speaking, Chen Xiang roared as true chi burst out of his mouth accompanied by azure lightning. It was madly flashing within the storm and accompanied by a strong wind aura. It was as if the powerful true chi was a waterfall falling from the 9th heaven as it struck Chen Furong's body. Thunderclap sounds rang throughout the whole field, but not alone, as it was also accompanied by Chen Furong's equally loud and blood-curdling screams. Chen Xiang's complexion was extremely cold and hard. Ever since he saw his father wounded, he swore that he would kill Chen Furong. "You are a 9th level of mortal martial realm martial artist, but in my eyes, you are nothing but an ant. Enjoy a few things before dying," Chen Xiang ruthlessly roared. Again, he casted the Azure Dragon Roar, followed by the Azure Dragon Claw, Storm Killing Fist, Heavenly Tiger Storm Killing Fist, and the Fire King Fist. He casted these several martial techniques he had grasped and was proficient in, one after the other, striking Chen Furong ruthlessly. Watching the scene that was occurring in front of them, a shiver ran down everybody's spine outside the field. They all had a frightened face. They had an extremely hard time believing that a not yet 17-year-old teenager had such a vibrant true chi, and also defeated a 9th level of the mortal martial realm expert. No, not defeated, madly battered and completely dominated. Chen Xiang was now resembling a mudball. His whole body, from head to toe, was struck and broken by Chen Xiang's top-grade martial techniques. Chen Xiang soon died in agony as Chen Xiang removed the storage pouch from Chen Xiang's waist and then incinerated the corpse into ashes. Afterwards, Chen Xiang stepped past the Yao family's broken main door. Dead. He just died like this. This child is simply a monster, an old martial artist said. If he had not seen Chen Xiang's strength a moment ago with his very own eyes, he would simply be unable to believe that Chen Xiang, a 9th level of the mortal martial realm expert, had been brutally bashed into the ground and killed by a teenage martial artist. Of course, just a moment ago, the strength shown by Chen Xiang was almost unbelievable. Everyone looking at the now tranquil but messy field could hear the sound of fighting that was occurring past the Yao family gate. It was similar to a daydream for them. This was the might of a powerful martial artist. With just a single battle, an entire field which could accommodate tens of thousands of people had become completely messed up. Extremely strong martial artists could definitely possess such an overwhelming force. This was definitely no legend. Chen Xiang arrived inside the Yao family estate. He saw many scattered body parts on the ground. He yelled out, "Dad, I've come to lend you a hand." Chen Xiang had actually arrived. Even those on his side like Chen Tianyu and Chen Haohai could not help but shudder. The fact that Chen Xiang arrived here meant that Chen Xiang was no longer a threat. This was only possible if Chen Xiang had been defeated by Chen Xiang. All of the Yao family members knew that Chen Xiang and Chen Xiang were fighting, but now Chen Xiang had won. In other words, Chen Xiang's strength was comparable. No, even above a 9th level of mortal martial realm expert. Now the Yao family's doom was foregone conclusion and simply inevitable. This is not possible. You cannot defeat someone from 9th level of mortal martial realm. Only someone who is in the 10th level of mortal martial realm could do it so fast, Yao Hong shouted. He was the Yao family patriarch. The current predicament of the Yao family was all because of him. It was his decision to eradicate the Chen family. Chen Xiang jumped several dozen zhang high into the air. An azure light emitted from his palm as he slammed it downwards. Endless true chi surged out from his palm along with the azure light. A huge azure palm that was immense as a mountain appeared in the sky. Moreover, it was pressing down below onto the Yao family. That palm was made purely from the chi aura. It was dozens of zhang wide and covered the entire garden, yet still with such a strong true chi gushing out from it. With just a glance, everyone there could tell how vigorous Chen Xiang's true chi was. That giant azure palm in the sky fell, as a large number of houses and hundreds of Yao family also fell under its immense pressure. Not only did all the houses under the palm get smashed into pieces, it also resulted in the bones of everyone under it to be cracked, blood gushing out from their mouths. The strength was so horrifying that everyone's flesh and blood simply flew off, pressed on the ground, turning it into human meat paste. A huge palm imprint was left in the ground. Everyone watching was deeply shocked by this, and many could not help but retch. Some even threw their weapons onto the ground, others emitted terrified shrieks, while many even fled the Yao family courtyard. All of the people running were Yao family members. Chen Tianyu's mouth twitched. He had not expected that in just few months his son would have such frightening power. With just a move, Chen Xiang could kill hundreds of people. Just a moment ago, Chen Xiang had released all of his Azure Dragon True Chi. Releasing such a soul-shaking strike, everyone watched as his complexion turned pale and he started falling from the sky. They all guessed that he must have overconsumed his True Chi. Kill all of them. The Chen family members have consumed too much of their True Chi. We cannot miss this opportunity. Yao Hong roared, wielding a longsword as he flew up. Just a moment ago, around 300 Chen family members were fighting against thousands of Yao family members. It really was very consuming. Chen Tianyu and the others in the 8th level mortal martial realm were up against many 6th or 7th level of mortal martial realm experts. Moreover, in order to prevent the casualties of their Chen family members, they had to help the injured retreat, increasing their burdens. The fact that they were all alive and standing was nothing short of a miracle. Chen family members, all of you, get behind me, Chen Xiang loudly shouted. All the Chen family elites in the courtyard soon flew behind him. Just from the spectacle before, they were all filled with admiration for Chen Xiang. Dad, just leave these old men to me, you deal with those other minions, said Chen Xiang as he rushed towards Yao Hong and the other high-level Yao family members. Chen Xiang and the others were originally worried, but when they saw the vigorous and vibrant true chi suddenly surge out from Chen Xiang's body, they all felt relieved. Yet in their hearts, they were still shocked. It wasn't clear to them how much true chi Chen Xiang's body actually possessed. White Tiger Divine Fist. Chen Xiang flew above the opposing party and suddenly punched out a thunderous fist. A large amount of golden true qi surged out from his fist, in blink of an eye, cementing into a giant golden fist, tens of zhang wide, which was exuding an extremely large amount of slaughter qi. Just a moment ago, a huge azure palm appeared, and now a huge golden fist. It was also transformed from a frightening qi aura, but was of a more destructive metal attribute true qi. This white tiger true qi also contained an engulfing slaughter qi. The huge golden fist flew, as the qi waves bursting out like a typhoon sweeping away the clouds. A large and thick slice of the earth had been lifted up and was currently flying towards that crowd of Yao family experts. As the golden fist passed over the ground, it started shaking from the violent true qi undulations, as the earth eventually cracked into numerous deep fissures. This power was absolutely comparable to a falling mountain. Yao Hong, who was watching this thunderous and powerful fist advancing towards them, could not help but be utterly shocked. At this time, every member of the opposing party facing this terrifying blow wanted to run away. But as they moved to do so, they found that the qi waves had intertwined with their bodies and they were unable to escape. The white tiger divine fist shoveled out a deep canyon in the ground, therein covering all of the Yao family's experts. Tyrannical qi aura ravaged their body, and the instant the divine fist struck them, they could clearly feel the muscle and bones in their body exploding. Furthermore, this blow completely dispersed the true qi in their body. All of you, stop, your Yao family patriarch and elders have been defeated. Chen Xiang's thunderous voice resounded through the entire Yao family courtyard. Every Yao family member, whether they were high or low, clearly heard his declaration. The people outside the courtyard and the field were also surprised. Chen Xiang had only entered a moment ago, but had already defeated the Yao family. Rumor had it that a single powerful martial artist could easily destroy an entire city. Now Chen Xiang had easily defeated all of a family's elite martial artists, including 3/8 level of the mortal martial realm experts. Moreover, they were all defeated by a single blow from Chen Xiang. This proves that the rumors were definitely not false. Yao Hong's and all the Yao family elders' bones were completely crushed. Despite this, they were still not dead, merely in excruciating and gruesome pain. They were all glaring at Chen Xiang with eyes full of hatred. The Yao family patriarch and elders had all been defeated. Other Yao family members did not dare to resist, their elites had long been defeated. If they tried to resume the battle, it would completely futile and meaningless. Chen Xiang. You? Just wait for our Yao family seniors to seek revenge. Yao Hong knew he was definitely going to die today, but also knew that the Yao family seniors would not sit idly by. Chen Xiang laughed. That's good, it would better if they come. I'll send them off so you can have a good long talk with them. While speaking, Chen Xiang created a short knife purely from qi aura. Soon, the small dagger was sent flying straight into Yao Gong's head. That qi aura dagger pierced Yao Hong's head, which immediately exploded right after. Yao Hong's head was completely blasted into smithereens. Watching this gruesome spectacle, everyone felt nauseous as fear seeped into their hearts. They worried what they could possibly do to resist if Chen Xiang were to act the same way against them. Once the other members of the Yao family saw such gruesome methods of execution, they all became obedient and surrendered themselves while begging for mercy. At this moment, the Dan aristocratic family, which had stood proudly for eons, had, in such a short period of time, been completely decimated. Moreover, this disaster was something they brought upon themselves. Yet, the part which is the most unbelievable and overshadowed all of this, was not the fact they lost, but the fact that the one responsible for such heavy destruction and damage to the Yao family was from a single person who was not yet even 17 years old. Chen Xiang and the rest never expected such a final outcome. Xiang, you lead the injured to leave first. You are also no doubt tired, leave the aftermath to us. Chen Xiang shouted loudly. His eyes were majestic as he glanced at the Yao family members, all of them could not help but tremble in response. Chen Xiang nodded his head and left with hundreds of injured Chen family members, returning to Dan King Hall. He received the dans he needed to heal himself. He had completely consumed all his Azure Dragon and White Tiger true qi today. It could be said he had consumed a little less than half of his true qi, and the other 3 true qis he had were also nearly empty due to his usage of the universal force. It is the first time he has expended his true qi to such a degree. Inside Dan King Hall, Chen Luzhong and Dan King Mengbo had just learned the outcome of the battle. The result had stunned the 2 old men as they repeatedly shook their heads again and again. Even they could not believe that Chen Xiang had such a terrifying strength, not to mention his strong talent in alchemy. This guy, it would be good if he entered a martial arts sect as soon as possible. This place would definitely be unable to withstand his meteoric rise. Chen Luzhong sighed. It was very difficult to find any suitable rivals for Chen Xiang here, but if he were to enter one of those martial arts sects, he would be near the bottom of the pack. This was also why, once a martial artist reached a certain level of strength, they were unwilling to stay in the regular world. Even if they were very powerful there, if they did not move on, their strength would come to a standstill. As long as a martial artist arrived at that step, all of them would want to go further. The Yao family was fully annexed by the Chen family. Every property across the entire southern martial empire that formerly belonged to the Yao family was now owned by the Chen family. Without a doubt, this made them one of the most formidable forces. Also, the Chen family was now the undisputed #1 Dan family in the southern martial empire. Several days passed as this event spread over the entire southern martial empire. Other families knew that war between the Chen and Yao families was inevitable, but had never expected it to end so soon. Moreover, Chen Xiang's name also became widespread as it was heard again and again due to his astonishing performance in this major conflict. Inside the imperial palace, a handsome man with an extremely pale complexion said to a middle-aged man with a majestic air, "Father Emperor, are we really going to forget that Chen Xiang stole our dragon martial technique, and the fact that he seriously injured me?" Song Wu loudly scolded. "What should we do then? Lead troops to try and destroy the Chen family? They have 6th 8th level mortal martial realm experts, as well as Chen Xiang whose strength is comparable to that of the 10th level of the mortal martial realm. Chen Xiang did not actually kill you, that's already quite benevolent. You think you are clever, but those things are only petty tricks." Song Wu was the emperor, but facing the Chen family, even he must concede his prestige. Furthermore, he and the Chen family held no grudges between them. That day at the tournament when he decided to not stay there with the seriously injured Song Nanming was truly a wise decision. Had he stayed with the Yao family that day, perhaps both he and Song Nanming would have been massacred along with the Yao family. I cannot reconcile with him. Song Nanming grinded his teeth and spat out. During this period of time, he had been beaten until his body was decimated. If not for the aid of the good healing dans, he simply would not have the slightest chance of recovering. Humph. So what if you cannot reconcile? The Yao family is now history while the Chen family will not do anything to threaten us. They do not care about being the emperor, after all they want to manage the aftermath of their war. You are going to obedient for this period of time, Song Wu coldly said as he left. The Yao family courtyard had become the new Chen family residence. The destroyed entrance and front area from the battle would soon be repaired as all of the Chen family members migrated from Wohu City to reside in King City. The forces who previously had very good relationships with the Yao family had quickly abandoned them and showed goodwill towards the Chen family. These days, many people brought gifts to Dan King Hall, all of them being very high in quality. From these gifts, Chen Xiang only picked a few herbs and left the rest for the Chen family. After killing Chen Farong, Chen Xiang found the true elemental Dan in his victim's storage pouch. This was a high-grade spirit-level Dan, extremely rare. Even for Meng Bo, the Dan king of the Southern Martial Empire, it would be extremely difficult to refine this Dan successfully. It has a vast amount of pure true qi. After eating it, the true qi within it can instantly be refined. Indeed a great Dan. I wonder when I will be able to personally refine it? Chen Xiang looked at the Dan, which had an appearance similar to a transparent shell. At the center, a ball of pure white qi was present. Su Meiyao was appreciatively holding Chen Xiang's flame dragon's brilliant furnace. Bai Yuyu was also looking on from the side. After the flame dragon's brilliant furnace recognized Chen Xiang as its master, Bai Yuyu was no longer afraid of its scorching qi. Su Meiyao said, "Those martial arts ex-alchemists can be considered to quite good if they can refine a high-grade spirit-level Dan. That's quite hard, although it did not mean much. After all, only those alchemists who can refine profound grade Dans are considered to be of great importance." Currently, Chen Xiang was only able to refine middle-grade mortal-level Dans and intended to learn how to refine high-grade mortal-level Dans, or possibly even low-grade spirit-level Dans. Only after achieving this objective would he head towards those big martial sects. Two sisters, is it possible for the Yao family seniors who are in those martial art sects to come back and retaliate against the Chen family? Chen Xiang asked. He was worried that after he left, the Yao family seniors would come for revenge. You do not need to worry about the martial arts sects learning about what happened here. This time, Chen Farong and Zhang Long broke the rules first and acted against the regular world's people. Even if they were killed, no investigation will be launched. Not to mention, the fact is, they were simply nothing in the eyes of the true martial sect. There is no way they would break the rules simply for their deaths. If they did, the true martial sect would be targeted by all the other sects, explained Su Meiyao. There were many martial arts sects and they diametrically oppose each other. All of them could not wait for someone to be a little bit in the wrong and grab their weakness. Chen Xiang was somewhat surprised. Like Zhang Long, this young 8th level of the mortal martial realm practitioner was still not of any importance. It was highly likely that there were many powerful martial artists inside those sects. Only martial artists with extraordinary potential and a very promising future could be considered to be of great importance. After things calmed down, Chen Xiang started learning alchemy and growing spirit herbs. He didn't use the true elemental Dan because Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu advised him that it would be most effective to consume it when he encountered a bottleneck. After the Chen family took over the Yao family's Dan businesses, their overall price dropped down. This made many martial practitioners extremely excited as they eagerly supported the Chen family. Due to this, the Chen family was very popular among the masses and their action would be a great aid in their future development as a powerhouse. In this world, the law of the jungle is rampant. In just one day, all of the wealth accumulated over eons by the Yao family now belonged to the Chen family. They had brought this upon themselves. If they had not opposed the Chen family, they would still be prospering. After the annexation of the Yao family, Chen Xiang simply did not have a shortage of spirit herbs he could use for alchemy. He was currently picking some spirit herbs from the former Yao family herbal garden, preparing to refine a high-grade mortal level Dan. Not only did the difficulty in refining a high-grade mortal level Dan increase several times over, it also required much more precious spirit herbs. There were not many types of high-grade mortal level Dans, and even fewer types were widespread and frequently used. These were the most useful for martial practitioners but also seldomly refined. These were also the types of Dans alchemists need to master, so obviously when Chen Xiang chose to learn how to refine high-grade mortal level Dans, he chose one of these to refine. High-grade mortal level Dans ranking on the tier list of Dans is somewhat awkward. How should I put this? Undoubtedly in the martial arts world, there are many martial practitioner above 10th level of the mortal martial realm and they are all quite rich. These people have high requirements, so when they buy pills they would obviously not choose mortal level pills but rather buy low-grade spirit level Dans instead. Moreover, it would be bought in vast quantities and after they eat it, it would give them greater benefits, said Su Meiyao. Chen Xiang asked. So in other words, those in martial arts sects at the 8th and 9th level of the mortal martial realm are relatively poor? Su Meiyao answered, of course. So they can only buy mortal level Dans with their wealth, but you have to know that even the effects of high-grade mortal level Dans on the 8th and 9th level mortal martial realm martial practitioners do not have any obvious benefits. So you need to master just the most expensive high-grade mortal level Dans, which are the cultivating Qi Dan, the grand elemental Dan and the transforming essence Dan, said Su Meiyao. Chen Xiang already knew some of these Dans and they were indeed among the most expensive mortal level high-grade Dans. After taking them, their effects were also very evident and helpful. Cultivating Qi Dan mainly elevated someone's true Qi quality so that martial practitioners could refine their true Qi into a purer form. Grand elemental Dan was a cultivation boosting Dan. After consuming it, a large amount of spirit Qi was released, which could be directly refined into a large amount of true Qi without taking into account thin spirit Qi or spiritual veins. Last was the transforming essence Dan. This Dan would directly transform internal true Qi into spiritual power and was mainly used to enlarge the area of divine sense and practice its usage. Chen Xiang had the flame dragon's brilliant furnace. With this sacred level dragonic object, one could accelerate the time inside the alchemy furnace and thereby save a lot of time in the refining process of alchemy. It should be known that some Dans take years or even decades for refinement. With the help of the flame dragon's brilliant furnace, Chen Xiang could drastically shorten the time required. Chen Xiang was going to attempt to refine the grand elemental Dan first, because he wanted to take the Dan himself and elevate his own power. Only after entering the 9th level of the mortal martial realm, would he enter one of the big sects. There were 3 main ingredients required for refining the grand elemental Dan. Although not much, they were all required to be more than 500 years old, in addition to 20 other auxiliary materials, the oldest of these being 100 years old and the youngest being 50 or 60 years old. From this alone, the preciousness of a grand elemental Dan could be seen. If they failed to refine it, many alchemists would simply cry in despair. This stone-like fruit is really tricky. Chen Xiang had started refining. Originally, these herbs belonged to the Yao family and there were only 4 sets, each of them being worth more than 100,000 large spirit coins. Although the flame dragon's brilliant furnace was more suitable for alchemy and the control of temperature was arbitrary, if one did not know about the degree of heating required by each herb, then even divine furnaces were useless. At this time, Chen Xiang separated his divine sense into 20 or so separate parts and controlled the flame incinerating the 20 different spirit herbs. Moreover, these spirit herbs had to transform into herbal powder at the exact same time, so there needed to not be even the tiniest bit of time difference between them. Meanwhile, Chen Xiang also needed to use all of his brain to refine the various spirit herbs into herbal spirit qi. The consumption of divine sense would ordinarily have been too much, even for Chen Xiang. But the flame dragon's brilliant furnace allowed him to decrease his consumption of divine sense, so he did not need to resort to using Dans in order to restore his divine sense. Chen Xiang's divine sense perceived a full day passing inside the alchemy furnace, but in actuality, only a small moment had passed. This is because the flame dragon's brilliant furnace sped up the passage of time inside it, so there was a large time difference between the two. Fucking shit, I'm finished. Chen Xiang was sweating profusely as he watched a clump of colorful mist rising from the flame dragon's brilliant furnace. He could not help but curse. This was already more than 100,000 large spirit coins which had just suddenly transformed into a puff of colorful smoke. The fact that Chen Xiang didn't cry was already considered resolute. Worthy of the title, Flame Dragon's Brilliant Furnace, to not even explode after that. Su Meiyao giggled and smiled tenderly. Sister Meiyao, do not irritate me, Chen Xiang muttered. Just a moment ago, he had incinerated the spirit herb called iron element fruit and failed. This was because that iron element fruit wasn't as hard as he had thought. When he had been baking it, nothing was going wrong, so he suddenly increased the heat of the flames. Who could have thought that the iron element fruit would explode in the blink of an eye? The escaping spirit chi from the explosion caused all of the other herbal powders and herbal spirit chi to blend into a chaotic mess. This resulted in a variety of reaction with the end result of an explosion, all of which surged out from the flame dragon's brilliant furnace. I told you that this fruit is very hard to refine. Even I failed a good number of times when I used this gray fruit. Now when I see someone failing in front of me like I once did, of course I'm going to be delighted. Su Meiyao stuck out her rosy fragrant tongue and continued to laugh. Every time Chen Xiang refined dance, Su Meiyao would come out. Sometimes she would wipe Chen Xiang's sweat, or perhaps gloat. Other times she would encourage him. Occasionally she would also take liberties or tempt Chen Xiang, this innocent teenager. Chen Xiang curled his lips and said, "You can afford the failures, but there is no way for me. There are only 3 sets of ingredients left," he exclaimed after learning that when Su Meiyao was trying to master alchemy, even with her extensive resources, had actually failed several times. Good brother, you shouldn't be so discouraged. I just remembered the past and missed it very much. Su Meiyao took out a silky handkerchief and sweetly smiled. She then walked towards Chen Xiang and wiped the sweat off his face. Chen Xiang inhaled that refreshing body fragrance that Su Meiyao emitted. Feeling her tender beautiful hands occasionally stroking his cheeks made him feel an inexpressible sensation. After a quick break, Chen Xiang continued to refine. The second time he had failed again, at the exact same stage when he was dealing with the iron element fruit. The third time, he managed to successfully resolve the issue with the iron element fruit, but at the last stage of congealing the dan, he could not control the fusion of the various herbal powders and herbal spirit cheese, resulting in another small explosion inside the flame dragon's brilliant furnace. Father is really prodigal. In just a 2-hour period, I've evaporated more than 400,000 large spirit coins. Chen Xiang laid down on the ground, feeling extreme heartache as he watched the scattered mist in the private room. The more Chen Xiang delved into the mysteries of alchemy and experimented with the higher rank dans, the more he understood why powerful alchemists were so scarce. This was because most people could not afford to consume spirit herbs. Even Chen Xiang, who was talented in comparison to others and also had the flame dragon's brilliant furnace as support, still continuously failed when trying to refine this high-grade mortal level, let alone others. Sister Meiyao, give me a kiss, then I'll have some courage again. Failing again and again, I've become fearful, Chen Xiang timidly said, but after he finished saying those words out loud, he laughed foolishly. Su Meiyao spat, "You little rascal, to even try to play me for a fool. It was good that you chose me to joke with. You would not have dared to say such things to senior sister. Otherwise your face will be swollen for at least several days." Chen Xiang mischievously laughed and said, "Of course I know, Sister Meiyao, it's not like you are going to be kissing me for the first time. Kissing again is next to nothing." This had occurred when Chen Xiang won the Flame Dragon's brilliant furnace. Su Meiyao had, in momentary excitement, kissed Chen Xiang on the cheek. However, she had not expected Chen Xiang to still be thinking about that moment. "Nice try. If you mention this again I am gonna ignore you later," Su Meiyao softly scoffed. Thinking of the day when she kissed Chen Xiang's cheek, her pretty face could not help but feel slightly hot as 2 intoxicating flushes emerged. This made her even more enchanting and charming. Seeing this, Chen Xiang was stunned. "Humph, hurry up and refine the dans." Su Meiyao's face gradually turned even more red as she stomped her feet. Her voice was seductive yet full of anger. She turned into a white light, and then disappeared into the ring. Chen Xiang was somewhat disappointed, but he knew that in order to get the beauty's heart he first needed to become strong. He rested a moment before seriously trying to refine the dan again. If he fails this time around, he would have to buy more herbs. More than half an hour passed before Chen Xiang's evil laughter resounded in the private room. "Ha ha ha. Your father has finally succeeded. In just half a day I learned how to successfully refine a grand elemental dan, haha." After Su Meiyao and Bai Yu heard that disgusting laugher, they immediately came out from the ring. "Do not ever laugh again in such a nasty way or I'll knock all your teeth out," Bai Yu's ice-cold voice resounded. This immediately made the formerly joyous Chen Xiang look as if he had just eaten dog shit. He quickly stopped laughing, and shut his mouth. He was worried that Bai Yu would actually knock his teeth out. After Su Meiyao saw this, she giggled. As the flame dragon's brilliant furnace opened, 5 dragon eye-sized white dans appeared into view, with quite a bit of spirit chi wafting from them. However, each dazens costed 80,000 spirit coins. This brat, always hurting other people's pride. I thought that he would at least fail a dozen times, but it seems that only after 2 or 3 failures, he succeeded like always. Su Meiyao, who was very happy in her heart, said while pouting. It was a rather seductive scene to behold. Although Chen Xiang was proud, he still managed to say with a straight face, "This is all thanks to Sister Meiyao's guidance and Sister Yu's." "It's none of my fault," Bai Yu interrupted him in the middle. "Of course. This has everything to do with Sister Yu, because in my heart I'm always thinking how I can help restore both fairy sisters' strength," Chen Xiang grinningly said. Although Bai Yu knows that Chen Xiang was just flattering her, she couldn't help but be slightly touched because Chen Xiang said this in consideration of her. "In the future, put in a little more effort. When you learn a devil skill from me, I'll start teaching you seriously," said Bai Yu. Right after she finished speaking, she quickly returned to the ring. "Brat, quickly swallow and refine the dance so that you can enter the 9th level of the mortal martial realm a bit earlier." Su Meiyao helped him wipe off a bit of sweat before returning to the ring. However, Chen Xiang did not eat it immediately, but instead took a short break. Afterwards, he called Su Meiyao out and requested to learn the refinement process for both the transforming essence Dan and the cultivating Qi Dan. Seeing such a passionate Chen Xiang, Su Meiyao gave in and patiently guided him. The transforming essence Dan was arguably the hardest to refine among high-grade mortal level Dans. The herbs were also the most expensive, so it was also the most expensive Dan to refine. This was because it can quickly boost divine sense growth. It was important to know that divine sense was incomparably harder to cultivate than true Qi. Also, many powerful exercises need a certain level of divine sense as part of their basic requirements. But even when he was refining the difficult transforming essence Dan, Chen Xiang only failed his first attempt before successfully refining it. Additionally, he also produced 6 Dans at once. This made even the two beauties, Bai Yu's and Su Meiyao's, pretty faces turn pale. But they were also very excited as they were sure that in the future, Chen Xiang would become an alchemy genius and would definitely reach the apex in alchemy. There were 4 sets of transforming essence Dan materials, because Chen Xiang only failed once, he managed to get a total of 18 Dans. In accordance with each Dan, the price was 10,000 spirit coins, which in total, was 180,000 spirit coins. Each set of herbs only costed 15,000 spirit coins and he was able to refine 6 Dans with one set. Chen Xiang was definitely blessed with fortune, however, he was not going to make that fortune in the regular world, but rather in the cultivator's world. "Brat, you're quite relaxed now, huh? We are waiting for you to successfully refine spirit level Dans, don't complain to high heavens," Su Meiyao said. She was shocked and happy for Chen Xiang's alchemy talent but she didn't want him to be overly proud because of this success. Chen Xiang nodded his head in response. In the evening, Chen Xiang ate the Dans and went outside the city to cultivate. He was not only cultivating true Qi, but also using various methods to refine his internal and external body. This would not only make his body even more powerful but also allow him to quickly transform true Qi into spiritual power, with which he could then cultivate into divine sense. 1 month passed as Chen Xiang became familiar with the refining process of all 3 of the most useful high-grade mortal level Dans. He also tried to refine some of the less famous Dans in order to improve his alchemy techniques. Of course, to not become overly reliant, he also used other alchemical furnaces for refining. With only small failures at the start before managing to be successful in refinement with other furnaces, it just took longer. For example, the Grand Elemental Dan only took half an hour to successfully refine in the Flame Dragon's Brilliant Furnace took about a day in an ordinary alchemical furnace. In just 1 month, the Chen family's position in King City had also stabilized. Their Dan business expanded, although the Dans they sold were cheap, the quantity sold were extremely vast, so the Chen family earned a lot of revenue. In the morning, Chen Xiang returned to the Chen family palace from the outside city. After just coming out from the bath, he saw steward Lao Ma anxiously rushing over. "Young master, something major has happened," Lao Ma hastily shouted. "What happened? Speak," Chen Xiang quickly asked. 10 days ago, the patriarch went out to solve some issues but came back poisoned. Right now, several elders along with Meng Lao are using their true Qi to suppress the toxin. The patriarch's life is in danger. The instant Lao Ma finished his last sentence, Chen Xiang turned into a blur and left. Chen Zhang's complexion was dignified as he came into the private room. Several elders and Meng Bo were pressing their hands against Chen Tianyu's upper body while administering their true Qi to suppress the poison in his body. Chen Tianyu's entire strong and muscular body was pitch black. His face seemed devoid of blood and there were faint traces of black Qi showing that he was poisoned. Nearby, Chen Luzhang's eyebrows twitched as he looked at a very small needle. At this time, several elders and Meng Bo, their complexions were somewhat haggard, all of them were sweating profusely. From their appearance, one could clearly see that they had consumed a lot of their true Qi. "Many thanks seniors, for helping my dad in expelling the poison. How is he now?" asked Chen Xiang. Although his voice was calm, he was extremely worried in his mind. Chen Tianyu was Chen Zhang's father and his only family. Since his childhood, his father had taken care of him, which made him afraid at the thought of losing his father. Meng Bo said, "Rest assured, the poison has been temporarily suppressed, but it has not been completely expelled. The poison has completely seeped into the bones and meridians, even entered into his 5 zhang and 6 fu. Fortunately, we were able to suppress the poison, or else." Chen Xiang closed his eyes and took a deep breath. He then clenched both his fists. In his heart, he was completely furious. An invisible yet heavy slaughter chi suddenly surged out from his body. Chen Tianyu slightly opened his eyes, although his voice was very frail, it was full of anger. "Judu gang. Those bastards. They plotted against our Chen family members multiple times, so I personally went to settle all accounts. In the end, a fight broke out. After I managed to kill 2 managers of Judu gang and 5 of their elders, their chief plotted against me. I decided to not continue fighting and rushed back." Chen Xiang was shocked. Even those elders and Meng Bo glanced at Chen Tianyu with an unbelievable look. "Dad, you really rushed alone into Judu gang?" Chen Xiang sucked a cold long deep breath. The Judu gang was a very vicious organization, specializing in poison. Many martial artists feared this dark organization. 10 years ago, 2 families sent their top experts to deal with them, but not a single one returned. Later, the 2 family patriarchs also went, but they too also didn't return. Humph, what is there to fear? Ever since our Chen family annexed the Yao family, the Judu gang has been opposing our Chen family, always snatching our goods. Even 10 of our Chen family members were secretly poisoned. If Judu gang is not eliminated, they'll only kill more of our Chen family members, Chen Tianyu angrily said. Calm down. Meng Bo appealed. What Chen Tianyu did could actually be considered earth-shattering. Killing 2 managers and 5 elders of Judu gang was definitely a great loss for them. He had shaken the whole foundation of the gang by himself. Chen Luzhang arrived, and he gave everyone the needle wrapped in a thick cloth he held in his hand for everyone to look at, and said, "This needle was removed from Tianyu's arm, was responsible for poison we just suppressed a moment ago. Anybody pricked by this needle will experience a paralysis, which is rather hard to detect." However, as Chen Tianyu's divine sense is quite powerful, he was able to sense his body condition and didn't continue the battle. Otherwise, the poison diffusion would have intensified. Seeing the needle, Chen Xiang's eyes fiercely opened, his complexion turned more solemn. "I've seen this needle before." Chen Xiang clenched his fists. He remembered when he fought against Crown Prince Song Nanming, he had also used a similar needle. Moreover, Leng Yulin was also stabbed by it, but the poison on it was not this strong. Yes, the Crown Prince, during the battle with Leng Yulin, released ice needles and poisoned Leng Yulin. During the match with me, he released similar needles, but it was burned down by my fire. Chen Xiang's eyebrows twitched as he spoke. He was constantly pondering about how the Crown Prince obtained this sort of thing, but now that the Judu gang was revealed to also have the same thing, everyone could not help but think there was definitely some association between the two. The Emperor, Song Wu, is leisurely and carefree. Joining hands with Judu gang doesn't have even the tiniest bit of advantage for him, but it is quite possible that the Crown Prince is secretly in contact with Judu gang. Said Meng Bo, not so long ago it was him who drove out the poison from Leng Yulin, so he was also suspicious. I must clearly check, Dad, where is the Judu gang's base? Chen Xiang asked. His eyes were filled with a thick killing intent. Freewind Mountain, be careful. Chen Tianyu was very clear on his sons. Chen Xiang's strength also reassured him, as even the powerful Yao family was defeated by him. Rest assured, we only need some more time to completely expel Tianyu's poison. Chen Luzhang patted Chen Xiang's shoulder. Chen Xiang left the private room, and rode out of the city toward eastern part of King City. Freewind Mountain had always been the gathering place for bandits, and rumor had it that various scattered groups of bandits and robbers had gathered and formed one gang, which was now known as the Judu gang. After leaving the city, Chen Xiang found out that someone was following him. He pretended that he hadn't noticed, and continued on his way. After eliminating the Yao family, it was quite possible that some of their remnants were looking for revenge. However, with his current strength, Chen Xiang didn't need to worry about revenge from these sorts of people. Entering the forest, Chen Xiang got off the horse and bolted into the forest. He also intentionally slowed down a bit, so that those following him might be able to catch up. However, what made him think something strange was going on was the fact that the person following him didn't take any actions and seemed to only be responsible for monitoring him. Could it be someone from Freewind Mountain guessed that I'll arrive? Suddenly, this thought sprung up in Chen Xiang's mind. He speculated there might be an ambush ahead. After entering deep into the forest, he suddenly found out that the one who was following him went around him and was now in front. This made Chen Xiang even more certain about an ambush ahead. Sure enough, after running for a bit into the forest, he saw a man sitting in front of him. Not a single tree was planted nearby, and the spacious ground was littered with fallen leaves. However, there was a luxurious chair was placed, on which sat a handsome fellow. Song Nanming. Chen Xiang coldly looked at the crown prince, who was once crippled by Chen Xiang. If not for a large number of good spirit herbs, the crown prince wouldn't have been able to recover so fast. Song Nanming appearing here only had one explanation, and that was Song Nanming and Judu Gang did indeed have a close relationship. Just after Chen Tianyu left Judu Gang, they had immediately sent a messaging eagle, so Song Nanming had time to come here. According to Chen Xiang's demeanor, after the poisoned Chen Tianyu fled, Chen Xiang would surely come for revenge. Because Song Nanming hated Chen Xiang, intercepting him halfway was also normal. Once Chen Xiang thought about this, he knew he had been surrounded by many Judu gang members who were prepared to use many hidden weapons laced with poison. However, he was still calm. As an alchemist, he already had the ability to negate poison. Furthermore, he was in the 8th level of mortal martial realm, so he had strong insight. Lastly, Song Nanming would not use the very same needle to plot against him. Behind Song Nanming stood 4 robust men, their whole bodies exuding pure true qi. From this, one could determine they were the Imperial Palace experts. Song Nanming, I didn't expect you to team up with the Judu Gang, for the dignified Southern Martial Empire Crown Prince to actually have relations with this wicked force. If this is spread out, humph, Chen Xiang sneered. Chen Xiang, your death is imminent, yet why are you so spirited? You'll die, and then who will know about me and Judu Gang? Ha 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 ha. As long as I deal with you, when I become emperor, I will definitely destroy your Chen family. This is because I want to become the one true emperor, Song Nanming said with a maddening look. The Southern Martial Empire's emperor was an emperor in name only, although he managed the whole country. When the Chen and Yao family matter occurred, he had no right to interfere, nor had he the strength to do so. Therefore his authority was actually very limited. Song Nanming was the crown prince, the next emperor. With his extreme desire for power, he didn't want to suppressed by those martial arts families, so he had formed relations with Judu gang-like forces. When the time was right, he planned to use these forces to secretly annihilate these families. Attack, we cannot allow him to make it alive out of here. With Song Nanming yelling, a cold wind suddenly blew in the forest. Song Nanming, who was being escorted by the 4 Imperial Palace experts behind him, vanished in the blink of an eye inside the forest. A chilly wind came, and Chen Xiang saw large amounts of black mist suddenly appear around him. He immediately guarded his body with vibrant true qi, transforming it into a qi cover enveloping his body. He held his breath at the same time, because he knew that this was definitely a poisonous mist. The poisonous mist had just arrived, enshrouding the place where Chen Xiang stood, covering him completely. Even under the broad daylight, it was pitch black around him. Suddenly, Chen Xiang's eyebrows twitched as he sensed numerous things quickly flying towards him from all 4 directions. Those were countless arrows as well as needles of varying length and thickness. A variety of hidden weapons simultaneously flew over from all 4 directions. The previously dusky forest was now tightly covered and became even darker. This was similar to a rainstorm of poisonous hidden weapons that were currently flying towards Chen Xiang. Previously, Chen Xiang had perceived many people around him, but he hadn't expected them to simultaneously release this many hidden weapons in such a spectacular way. However, despite this being the case, Chen Xiang was still not the least bit afraid. No wonder Song Nanming is so certain of my death. If I was an ordinary 8th level or 9th level mortal martial realm expert, I'm afraid I would surely suffer, Chen Xiang said in his heart. As the countless flying needles and arrows stabbed him, a large amount of invisible true qi immediately burst out from his body. This was the universal force created from the fusion of the 5 elements. This deep and terrifying power pervaded through a radius of several zhang. Those flying hidden weapons were now caught by this power. None of them were able to move an inch forward, entirely suspended in the air. Countless flying needles and arrows were stopped by the universal force released by Chen Xiang. They were suspended in the air and piled up atop of each other. It was as if a black wall was erected all around Chen Xiang. Hey, no more huh, but this could still be counted as enough. Chen Xiang laughed. He used Tai Chi divine exercise, with both hard and soft characteristics, and released the universal force that held all of the hidden weapons suspended in place within the air. At this time, Chen Xiang sensed that all the hidden people around him started to run away into the forest. A ruthless idea came to Chen Xiang. Boom! The universal true qi surged out like tsunami from his body. Due to the sudden force, those hidden weapons, which were previously suspended in air, got blasted away along with the poisonous mist and flew out in all 4 directions. In the blink of an eye, Chen Xiang's location was now restored to the previous luminous forest. However, now there were waves after waves of pitiful screams emitted from the forest as if a devil was demanding for hundreds of lives. Truly reaping what you sowed, Chen Xiang shook his head and sighed. He had extremely vibrant and powerful true qi. As long as he could use its power properly, nothing was impossible for him. He simply didn't need to pay any attention to hidden weapons. 2 groups of flames appeared on Chen Xiang's back. These intense flames soon transformed into a pair of giant wings. In order to prevent Song Nanming from escaping, Chen Xiang had used the vermilion bird fire wings. These fire wings instantly pushed Chen Xiang upwards, like an eagle soaring in the sky. Chen Xiang's vision was like an eagle. Even while flying high in the air, he could still clearly see everything on the ground. He soon was able to reach the road outside the forest where he previously left his horse, which was also the path back to the king city. Chen Xiang, with his divine sense, flapped and controlled the vermilion bird fire wings, and flew extremely quickly. It didn't take long for him to catch up with Song Nanming. Galloping on the horseback and speeding away, Song Nanming looked very excited because he finally was able to remove his greatest enemy. As long as his father, the emperor, passed his throne to Song Nanming, he could carry out his plan. But at this time, he suddenly heard someone calling out his name. Song Nanming, Chen Xiang shouted while up in air. Song Nanming thought he heard it wrong, but he once again heard a clear sound coming from high above. He, along with the 4 imperial palace experts, raised their heads and looked up. They immediately saw a pair of fiery red wings appear up in the sky. Those pair of wings were extending from a person's body, and that person was Chen Xiang. Watching the wings formed from true qi behind Chen Xiang, a shiver suddenly ran down along Song Nanming's entire body, from the top of his head to the sole of his feet. Chen Xiang was still alive. Moreover, he was using a priceless true qi wing martial skill. Chen Xiang dived down from the sky. A large amount of terrifying azure true qi suddenly appeared on his palm. Soon, a giant palm from true qi was formed. Although Song Nanming and others were running, they were nothing more than rabbits struggling in a falcon's grip. Chen Xiang released the giant palm and fiercely struck down, pressing down on Song Nanming and all of the imperial palace experts. This was the true qi from someone in the 8th level mortal martial realm, and it also contained azure lightning and aura wind. Under its terrifying power and momentum, Song Nanming and the others were seriously injured in blink of an eye. Man and horse were both pressed against the ground. The horses were instantly killed, while their riders were vomiting blood, struggling on the ground. Chen Xiang arrived next to them while holding a long blade. Right in front of Song Nanming, Chen Xiang began beheading those imperial palace experts one by one. Watching this horrific scene unfold in front of him, Song Nanming trembled from fear and even wet his pants. Chen Xiang could kill Song Nanming unscrupulously, and he knew it. Death was right around the corner, and the air was filled with the strong stench of blood. 4 heads were placed in front of Song Nanming, but in spite of the gory sight in front of him, what made him more frightened was that smile on Chen Xiang's face combined with the thick slaughter qi emanating from his body. I didn't even intend to pursue the matter from the previous martial art tournament, but I also did not think you would plot to kill me. This is what you asked for, Chen Xiang coldly said. Song Nanming's handsome face was twisted. He was seriously injured and didn't have an ounce of strength to resist, but he still said with difficulty, "Young Master Chen, I." Before he even finished his sentence, Chen Xiang's blade fell, separating Song Nanming's head from his body. The crown prince had just been beheaded by Chen Xiang. Presumptuous guy, always making other people waste their energy, Chen Xiang said with disdain. He took Song Nanming's storage pouch and looked inside. In addition to tens of thousands of spirit coins, there was also a brand new book. Chen Xiang quickly took out the book and opened it. When he saw the words, Long Wu, Dragon Martial Technique, he was immediately delighted in his heart. He did not think that Song Nanming would actually carry around the Dragon Martial Technique. Chen Xiang quickly put the Dragon Martial Technique inside the invisible ring so that Su Meiyao and Bai Yu could study it. The ancient Dragon Martial Technique could be considered a type of divine exercise. It was so powerful that even Su Meiyao and Bai Yu were very interested in it. It's just a part of the complete Dragon Martial Technique. Its main portion is to guide the user in how to transform their true qi transforming into dragon's aura. Afterwards, with this dragon aura the user can cast out martial skills. It was exactly the same as the dragon aura fist that you used before. That so-called dragon aura fist you previously stole from and used against Song Nanming was actually still not quite perfect. Furthermore, it could also be said that Song Nanming had not practiced enough and was not proficient in this skill, Su Meiyao said excitedly. There's such a good martial skill and yet he didn't practice enough. This crown prize is simply a waste. Those ice-cold eyes of Bai Yu was calmly staring at that book. Although it was handwritten, it was very detailed. Chen Xiang was already missing some suitable martial techniques, as there weren't many inside the divine exercise of 4 symbols. Furthermore, the few in there often required extremely vibrant true qi to properly display their effects. Although the Chen family may have a few decent martial techniques, Chen Xiang was not satisfied with them. Besides, the majority were not suited for his cultivation. Sister Meiyao, is there any difference between the Dragon Martial Technique and the Azure Dragon Divine Exercise? Chen Xiang asked. They are completely different. The Dragon Martial Technique was personally created by a dragon. Meanwhile, the Azure Dragon Divine Exercise was created by a human in accordance with a dragon. According to ancient legends, it has been mentioned that the dragon martial technique, created by a dragon, can fully display a dragon's formidable power, even to the point where it is capable of killing other dragons. As such, it is also known as the exterminating dragon divine martial skill, Su Meiyao said. Exterminating dragon divine martial skill. Just from the name itself, Chen Xiang knew it was very formidable. So, the fragments of the dragon martial technique should be scattered throughout the world, but if all of them were to be collected, that would mean that. As Chen Xiang thought about this, he suddenly became very excited. However, he knew in his heart this would be very difficult to achieve. Translated by, Ash, edited by, I Ballistic Bunny, Theno 1 fan. Chen Xiang set fire to Song Nanming and the others to incinerate their bodies. But what made him surprised was that although the fire reduced them to ash, 2 Kai long golden bands of light remained. TLN. 1 Kai equals 1/3 of a meter. What is that? Chen Xiang said, with uncertainty, and then consulted Bao Yuyu and Su Meiyao. Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu, who were both wearing a black hood, came out of the storage ring. They wore these outfits so no one would be able to see their appearances. It is a martial spirit. In Bai Yuyu's ice-cold voice, a sliver of surprise could be heard. Su Meiyao leaned down and stroked it with her head, saying with certainty, yes, they are martial spirits. What is a martial spirit? Chen Xiang had never heard of such a thing. This thing has a unique property, what it is specifically is unclear. Anyway, it is bred out from true qi, produced by heaven and earth. If it is an ice martial spirit and fuses with your arm, even fire attributed true qi, after passing through the ice martial spirit, will become ice-cold true qi, said Su Meiyao. Chen Xiang was surprised. So you're saying if someone who cannot release fire true qi integrates a fire marital spirit into their arm, then they could very well be able to release fire true qi? Bai Yuyu said, yes. So any martial spirit is very valuable and it is also why we cannot tell what attribute this martial spirit has. Chen Xiang just heard about this mystical resource for the first time, which shows just how rare it was. But then why would Song Nanming have it? Having a martial spirit might not make much sense to you because you are able to freely release the 5 elements of true qi, but you should keep it to sell later. You should be able to exchange it for a lot of good resources. Su Meiyao got out a small jade bottle and using the Tai Chi divine exercise, sucked in the martial spirit. Chen Xiang flew up towards Freewind Mountain. Killing Song Nanming not only gave him the exterminating dragon divine exercise, but also the martial spirits. This harvest can be considered to be very big. Using his divine sense, Chen Xiang asked Su Meiyao, who was inside the ring, Sister Meiyao, can you talk about these martial spirit things with me? Is it really irrelevant and useless for me? Su Meiyao said, of course not, there are many different types of martial spirits. In addition to the primary elemental martial spirits, there are also beast martial spirits that have been congealed out by demon beasts, which is equally rare. The kind which is most useful to you would be a fire martial spirit. It is able to change the very nature of the flames, allowing them to have a wide variety of properties which is very helpful to alchemists. Fire spirits are very rare. I only know that my teacher has one and has never seen anyone else have it, but only heard rumors that several strong individuals have one. Chen Xiang is secretly shocked. He heard from Su Meiyao's mouth that people who have this fire martial spirit are one of those extremely strong experts. Freewind Mountain, although not very high, is still a very big stone mountain. At the highest point, many houses are constructed, and above the hilltop there was a majestic palace hall. Chen Xiang did not expect that in such a place there will actually be a gathering of the black forces at such a large scale. Chen Xiang admired his father, who with only the 8th level of the mortal martial realm, actually dared to solo rush into the large dark forces and also killed a lot of their important members. At the foot of the mountain, due to the pervious rush by Chen Tianyu, many people are patrolling. This Freewind Mountain is way more heavily guarded, but that doesn't matter to Chen Xiang. His father had previously beheaded many high-level members, so he was much more relaxed. Chen Xiang already knew that the Judo gang is very formidable and that they used all kinds of hidden weapons laced with poison. As long as he took the proper precautions against them, he simply had nothing to fear from this Judo gang. Before, Chen Xiang was attacked from all sides by thousands of hidden weapons, yet all of them didn't even matter to him. Those hidden weapons are not even slightly effective against him. One Judo gang member saw Chen Xiang coming out from inside the mountain forest. He immediately unsheathed the sword on his waist, shouting, "Who is it?" Chen Xiang. When the Judo gang members saw this handsome teenager burst out a mesmerizing slaughter chi while he spoke, they could not help but be alarmed. They had no doubt that this teenage is the rumored Chen Xiang. EDN. No shit Sherlock, he just shouted out his name. Chen Zhang's eyes, containing immense amounts of slaughter chi, swept through the group. Suddenly those Judo gang members waved both of their arms quickly as numerous steel needles of varying sizes flew out from their hands. Under the illumination of the sunlight, they all flashed with an intermittent cold aura. Just as Chen Xiang expected, most of the Judo gang members used hidden weapons. If it was any ordinary martial artist, they would have difficulty guarding against these attacks and would be easily killed by these people. But for Chen Xiang, this simply did not pose that much of a threat. His eyebrows just simply rose while hot aura chi surged out from his body, forming a shield that wrapped around his body. These steel needles were stopped in their tracks by the shield. Chen Xiang, watching the sharp steel needles, coldly smiled and emitted a powerful divine sense. This in turn, controlled those countless steel needles, making them turn around right back onto those Judo gang members. Creating all these steel needles shouldn't be that easy, right? Here, I'll return them all back to you. Chen Xiang sneered as the countless steel needles fell like a rainstorm towards the Judo gang members. The Judo gang members who weren't able to react properly in time, easily got pierced by the countless different steel needles, resembling a human hedgehog. Afterwards, Chen Xiang saw a scalp-tingling scene. Not far from him, those 40 to 50 people, after being pierced by their steel needles, suddenly turned black. These people emitted the most miserable screams as their bodies slowly melted, turning into a black pool of blood. This blood is full of poison, as not just their bodies but even their clothes weren't spared as they melted. Slowly the stones besides them and even those steel needles disappeared, showing just how terrible this poison is. This Judo gang cannot be allowed to remain, Chen Xiang said with a frown. He released a large amount of flames incinerating the poison blood, then started flying towards the hilltop. Just a moment ago, when Chen Xiang and the Judo gang members acted, the intermittent rings of bells came from the hilltop. Chen Xiang knew he has been discovered, but he still ran towards the hilltop. Arriving at the top of the hill, surprisingly, there was no one there. When he entered the majestic palace hall, he saw a person covered in a full black robe inside the luxurious large hall. But suddenly behind this figure, appeared a large crowd that surrounded him. Their numbers could only be counted in the thousands. "Is your father dead?" One white-haired, dwarf, ugly old man came out, in a very ugly voice asked. TLN. What the hell, everything about him is ugly, lol smiley face. Nope, alive and well, Chen Xiang calmly replied, which made the ugly dwarf old man's eye fiercely shoot open. Chen Xiang determined this old man should be the Judo gang chief. Humph, in that case, why did you come here to die? The Judo gang chief coldly said. When he looked at Chen Xiang, there was an expression in his eyes that seemed to be looking at a dead man. I did not come here to die. I came here to collect your life, Chen Xiang solemnly stated, his face and tone were completely serious. Translated by, Ash, edited by, Fino One Fan and Analytic Bunny. Listening to this, the Judo gang leader, as if listening to a joke, actually laughed. Following right after him, all the black-robed men around him also started laughing. Their laughter was very ugly and absolutely terrifying. Your father came quietly, which is why it cost us dearly. If we had taken early precautions, then he would have died, but now in your case we have taken these necessary measures. There is no doubt that you will certainly die, Judo gang leader said with a sinister laughter. You are able to come here, then you should have not encountered Song Nanming. It's your good luck, but you coming here is also the same as death, of course. I will not let you die so easily. I'll use poison to slowly kill you, and even use you to threaten the Chen family. Chen Xiang interrupted him and said, I met Song Nanming, and this also means that I also experienced your proud Judo gang, but it seems that they are not very formidable. Chen Xiang's words made the triumphant Judo gang leader's complexion suddenly sink, and with an unbelievable look on his face said, Brat, I know you're formidable, but the fact that you're still not dead under the siege of hundreds of groups of the Judo gang would mean that you would have to be in the 10th level of mortal martial realm. I admit, your embroidery needle technique is not bad, pretty dangerous, but in my eyes they are only the acrobatics of a child, said Chen Xiang, who was smiling, but suddenly his smile disappeared and his face turned into a face that was full of slaughter chi. I'm not in the 10th level of mortal martial realm, but I'm able to kill a 10th level mortal martial realm expert. Immediately after speaking, in Chen Xiang's one arm suddenly surged out an invisible chi aura, which was congealed out from universal true chi. If their divine sense was not strong enough, then they simply couldn't find this frightening true chi. When the Judo gang members had just discovered Chen Xiang's action, Chen Xiang's fist already fiercely struck out and rushed forward. Because the speed was too fast, a majestic force struck from the air above, emitting a deafening explosion, and the whole ground broke as it was unable to bear this strong force and the spreading of the chi undulation which shook and smashed everything it passed. This made the entire palace hall to fiercely shake. Chen Xiang's punch, in blink of an eye, burst out and also accurately struck on top of that old man's chest, but what made Chen Xiang surprised is the fact that the Judo gang leader actually did not fly out, and instead, in that moment, the Judo gang leader released a chi aura and withstood that fierce power of Chen Xiang's. Judo gang leader hadn't anticipated that Chen Xiang would act so suddenly and with this much frightening power. In his own opinion, this power was comparable with several 10th level mortal martial realm experts. He vomited a mouthful of blood, as Chen Xiang's fist had seriously injured him. Attack, kill him. As the voice faded, Chen Xiang's fist suddenly turning golden, and glowing true qi flowed in the veins inside. The place that his feet landed on was smashed, as the extremely powerful true qi madly surged out from his body. Chen Xiang punched out a fist once again. Dragon Aura Fist. This is an Dragon Slayer divine martial skill, and its power can only be imagined, not to mention the fact that it was formed by using universal true qi. Stop, I'm from the 100 Poison Sect. He hadn't even finished speaking, and yet Chen Xiang's fist, which was like a ball of golden aura, thunderously struck on the Judo gang leader's head, violently flying and hitting him. True qi containing extremely strong destructive power struck on that head, and the head, together with the upper body, was blown into pieces of meat in the blink of an eye. At the same time, countless flying needles flew towards Chen Xiang's body. Chen Xiang did not deal those hidden needles at first, as he knew that all of the hidden weapons were pushed through by pouring true qi in them, and as long as it was only this strong, he could accurately deal with them. Either directly using powerful true qi to burst open them, or by controlling them was the only way to deal with these hidden weapons. Chen Xiang had a strong divine sense which he soon released, and those countless flying steel needles coming from all around became perfectly distinguishable for him, because in his eyes those steel needles all became slower. This time, Chen Xiang, unlike before, didn't use any true qi to resist these steel needles, but with his divine sense directly manipulated these poisonous needles, and stopped those needles and suspended them entirely in the air. Humph, you only have this same attack pattern? Chen Xiang coldly spoke, and from his body surged out a horrifying scorching qi. He used this scorching qi and billows of flame to start burning everything all around him, and in blink of an eye all those steel needles burned down entirely. Those Judo gang members were all shocked, as they thought their hidden weapons were very powerful. Unexpectedly so was the Chen Xiang. During their preparation and attempts to launch a second wave of hidden weapons, Chen Xiang had suddenly disappeared in the fire sea inside. As they raised their head to look up in the air, there was a huge burning palm, spraying a hot qi undulation, as if a big mountain was pressuring down on them. Boom boom boom. The huge burning palm pressed down, producing violent and thunderous explosions, and pressing hundreds of group of gangs in the Great Hall, and turning them into meat patties followed by a flame incineration. Chen Xiang once again entirely released his Zuke true qi and transformed it into a huge palm, and inside this large hall the entire Judo gang group was killed by the following explosion. In the eyes of a 10th level mortal martial realm expert, ordinary people are like ants. It also isn't an exaggeration that a 10th level mortal martial realm's strength compared with the 8th level mortal martial realm's strength is extremely strong. Although Chen Xiang is at the 8th level of the mortal martial realm, his strength displayed was neck and neck with martial artists of the 9th level of the mortal martial realm and even the 10th level mortal martial realm, the complete state of mortal martial realm. Chen Xiang came out of the hall, arrived outside and again used his terrifying power, capable of smashing a mountain, and completely destroyed the Freewind mountain top. Coming down from the Freewind mountain, Chen Xiang immediately operated the Tai Chi divine exercise, and converged his irascible slaughter qi. Otherwise, just after killing a group of people, he looked like a slaughtering human fiend god. Chen Xiang just came down from the mountain and entered the forest inside, and found one thin middle-aged man was in front of him. This man, who had a plain appearance, wearing a clean white robe with a beard on some places on his chin, seemed like an ordinary man. But when Chen Xiang saw this middle-aged man, a sense of dread could not be helped but be born in his heart. This middle-aged man had quietly appeared near him. Moreover, Chen Xiang wasn't able to see his strength, and Chen Xiang's intuition also told him that this middle-aged man was one very dangerous figure. I did not expect to even find such a genius in this secular world, even to have a true Qi Wing type martial skill, and have such an amazing inherent potential for alchemy. Even your strength is enough to be shocking. If you can enter the true martial realm, you certainly would be the most promising young man, said the middle-aged man, with a deadpan expression, and his voice also didn't even have an ounce of feelings. Who are you? Asked Chen Xiang, looking defensive. That middle-aged man revealed a very stiff smile and said, My name is Zhu Duzi, the founder of the Judo gang you just destroyed, yet you say who I am? Chen Xiang was surprised in his mind. He knew this Zhu Duzi was here for a very long time but still didn't act, and even watched the Judo gang's destruction which he himself had established. One can clearly understand the goal of this Zhu Duzi from this attitude. He was only waiting for Chen Xiang to consume his true qi so that he can easily deal with Chen Xiang. As he would rather destroy his own clan, this showed how important he regarded Chen Xiang. 10th level mortal martial realm, Chen Xiang solemnly said. Good eyesight. Zhu Duzi coldly smiled, looking at the burning palace hall on the mountaintop, and said contemptuously, For me in this world, I simply do not care about anything related to the Judo gang as I only set it for recreational purposes. You have consumed a lot of true qi, rest assured, I will not kill you. I'll take you back to 100 Poison Sect and present you as a gift to the sect elder, and they'll like you very much, but prior to this you must hand some things to me or I'll let you experience what is called a living death. After speaking, Zhu Duzi's face turned completely ruthless. The other party was at the 10th level of the mortal martial realm, which would be Chen Xiang's first time facing an expert of this level. Moreover, the expert was a disciple of a martial arts sect. Yet there was not an ounce of fear in his heart, on the contrary he was rather excited because he hadn't met a decent opponent for quite a while now. What do you want me to do, surrender? Chen Xiang asked, and, though he looked serious, he still gave off a very calm feeling, which made even Zhu Duzi slightly surprised. The 1,000-vein fruit, the 1,000-year beast Dan, the hell spirit grass, your cultivating martial skill, as well as all of your pills. Give them all to me. Zhu Duzi's eyes were filled with greed, because these things, even inside a martial arts sect, were very precious and he believed that he wouldn't be able to get them anytime soon. Come and collect it yourself. Chen Xiang pursed his lips, as a sliver of a smile could be found on his face and his previously grim face was suddenly full of soaring war intention, as slaughter chi valiantly soared from his robust body. Seeing the change in Chen Xiang's appearance, Zhu Duzi was startled, because, mere moments ago, Chen Xiang had looked like someone whose true chi was almost depleted. Humph, callow brat. A youngling like you dares to try and run rampant in front of me. Zhu Duzi waved his hand and a blackish poisonous powder immediately surged out from his sleeve. It transformed into a fierce wind and blew towards Chen Xiang. At such a close range, Chen Xiang was simply unable to react in time and he was, in the blink of an eye, drowned by the billowing black poisonous wind. Brat, the 100 Poison Sect is one of the 5 devil sects and specializes in poisons. They don't have any powerful martial skills. Even though he is in the 10th level of the mortal martial realm, he cannot even utilize half of the usual strength of a 10th level mortal martial realm practitioner. As long as you can deal with the poison they use on you, it is easy to deal with them. In Chen Xiang's mind, Bai Yu's voice appeared. Previously, Chen Xiang had learned several methods of resisting poison from the two beauties beforehand. At this point, the vibrant wood attribute true chi wrapped Chen Xiang's entire body like a cocoon. However, the poisonous powder was still able to seep in. If his true chi was not vibrant enough and wasn't resisting the poisonous air internally and externally, he would have been poisoned. This shows how fearsome the 100 Poison Sect are when using their poisons. Chen Xiang's body suddenly shook as the poisonous mist shrouding his body was dispersed. It was even blown away towards Zhu Duzi, while at the same time Chen Xiang took one step and arrived in front of Zhu Duzi. He opened his mouth and roared, casting Azure Dragon Roar, which started spewing lightning chi aura, and accompanied the poisonous mist to attack Zhu Duzi. After he finished casting Azure Dragon Roar, Chen Xiang then cast Dragon Aura Fist. His true chi transformed into a dragon aura. Using this dragon aura, he punched out a heavenly tiger storm killing fist. After this frightening dragon chi aura was released, it generated fearsome chi aura explosions, one after another. Zhu Duzi simply didn't expect Chen Xiang to resist his poison and even more, to counter-attack him at lightning speed, furthermore with such a fearsome true chi. In the blink of an eye, together with his own poisonous mist, dozen or so blows from Chen Xiang had struck his body. Each fist that was struck on Zhu Duzi's body produced a fearsome chi explosion, which made even the ground tremble. Leaves started to fall from the nearby trees due to the aftershock, while Zhu Duzi vomited a mouthful of blood. At any rate, Zhu Duzi was also a 10th level mortal martial realm martial practitioner. Though he often used poison, his true chi was still very vibrant, so he still had a certain level control over his true chi. He was capable of quickly resisting Chen Xiang's violent and fearsome punches with his vibrant true chi. Well brat, I underestimated you. But do not look down on me quite yet. While Zhu Duzi spoke, he released dozens of pitch-black Snickersnees, which pierced through the air and flew towards Chen Xiang. TLN. Snickersnee, a large sword-like knife. Chen Xiang quickly moved his true chi and released an aura wall in front of him, blocking the pitch-black Snickersnees. But a Snickersnee is unlike the previous poisonous needles and weren't so easy to deal with. Surprisingly, these Snickersnees, that contained poison, slowly penetrated his aura wall. Not far away, Zhu Duzi was controlling these Snickersnees with his divine sense. Brat, you're still too tender. Explode. Zhu Duzi sneered, and at that exact moment the Snickersnees exploded. A powerful chi aura burst out from them, while these Snickersnees turned out to be somewhat special. Unexpectedly, compressed chi aura could be poured into them, so when they exploded, Chen Xiang's aura wall was taken along with them. Moreover, a black poisonous mist burst out. This Zhu Duzi had endless means and it was virtually impossible to guard against all of them. If it was any other 10th level mortal martial realm expert, they certainly would have been killed. The people we both have previously encountered are very different. The people you met, though you can easily defeat them, they're still nothing in my eyes. Zhu Duzi gradually walked towards Chen Xiang. The power generated by the explosion of those Snickers knees caused Chen Xiang to fly before he was smashed into the ground. Zhu Duzi thought Chen Xiang had been seriously injured and also poisoned. He didn't expect at all that Chen Xiang would suddenly bounce back from the ground and rush towards him like a bolt of lightning. Chen Xiang's right hand transformed into a dragon claw. This incredibly sharp claw was congealed out by using his Azure Dragon Aura Chi, which was capable of destroying even the strongest of defenses. Like a lightning bolt, Chen Xiang suddenly swooped towards him. Zhu Duzi was simply defenseless. All he could do in time was to mobilize his true chi to reduce the damage as much as possible. Yet, he still underestimated Chen Xiang's Azure Dragon Claw, which, to his surprise, directly stabbed into his abdomen. Engulfing Devil Skill. Chen Xiang cried in his heart, operating the frightening Devil Skill passed down by Bai Yuyu, engulfing the 10th level mortal martial realm Zhu Duzi's true chi. Zhu Duzi was greatly shocked in his heart, as he could feel how his vibrant true chi was rapidly pouring out of his wounds. He could see on Chen Xiang's handsome face that it was now abruptly covered with hideous blue veins, and he could sense that his true chi was directly pouring into these blue veins. Chen Xiang was engulfing his true chi. Zhu Duzi panicked. Every devil sect members aspired for this type of devil skill, but these type of devil skills are only owned by devil path sects. However, at this moment, Zhu Duzi was personally experiencing it. You! Zhu Duzi roared, as he took another Snickersnee out and madly stabbed it towards Chen Xiang, but Chen Xiang, before he had casted the engulfing devil technique, had released his strongest chi aura defense around his body, because it was harder for him to gather his own true chi while he was engulfing Zhu Duzi's true chi, thereby reducing his power greatly. Boundless true chi madly surged into Chen Xiang's internal body, violently surging into his meridians. This wildly flowing true chi caused incessant pain in his meridians, but on the other hand Zhu Duzi's complexion was turning increasingly white, and the strength of his whole body was becoming weaker and weaker. In the blink of an eye more than half of his true chi was gone. Chen Xiang extracted his right hand from Zhu Duzi's abdomen, while fiercely punching out with his left hand. Tyrannical true chi surged out and bombarded on Zhu Duzi's body, breaking open his thin and flat body. Zhu Duzi wasn't dead yet, as that skinny and hideous face of his was filled with fear, anger and despair, all at the same time. You. What did you do to me? I don't have my true chi. That is dozens of years of my cultivation, gone. Go die already. Chen Xiang punched out in the air and a tyrannical true chi transformed into black chi aura which struck Zhu Duzi's body. The upper half of his body almost exploded, as it turned into many bits and pieces. Chen Xiang picked up Zhu Duzi's storage pouch and hastily flew away. His body couldn't withstand the new internal tyrannical true chi, which was raging inside his meridians and 5 jong and 6 fu. His face was ashen. Brat, I already told you that you should not engulf someone whose strength is much stronger than your own. If you aren't able to control this engulfed power your body will explode and you will perish. Bai Yu coldly shouted. Her voice was full of anger but there was a sliver of concern within it. Sister Yu, do not worry, I've a sense of proportion. Chen Xiang operated the Tai Chi divine exercise, refining as much as possible of the engulfed true chi, along with swallowing many pills, which could help him in refining the true chi.